I will switch to the conclusion of these events, very interesting events, and I will involve guys, friends, people from Ukraine. I think that should be connected Alberto Del Lungo from Italia on remote.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Massimo. Nice to see you.
Hello. So the floor is yours now for the conclusion. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and good afternoon to everybody from Ukraine. Okay, I've been requested that just to try to draft some conclusion of this great and huge event that we were able to organize in Italy and has branches, because a lot of people is involved in this useful and great event. So congratulations. First of all, I would like to congratulate. I'm also congratulated from the colleagues that are attending this particular event. Just to let you know, I'm in Ukraine, and because as usual, as a professional, I'm wearing several hats, and then at the moment, I'm working for the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations as the chief forestry expert in Ukraine, because we are trying to rebuild the forestry sector and to prepare the forestry sector to join Europe in, we hope, the next forthcoming future. And in this regard, it happens to me to touch a lot of different fields, and including the production of sustainable biomass, of course. But I will talk a little bit later on when I will pass the floor to my colleagues, to Lyudmila. Just to draft some of the conclusions, I mean, I found that unfortunately, or fortunately, the branches project is arriving at the end. It seems yesterday when we started, it was almost 3 years ago. And from that time, we have achieved a lot. I mean, we have strengthened a team of people in many different European countries that has worked together to share as much as possible very good example of great practices on the use of biomass into very, very different conditions, climatic conditions, environmental conditions. We have developed so many different, not developed, but discovered and strengthened and shared so many different practice abstracts that have been appreciated all over Europe. These practice abstracts, as you will see, are attracting the interest of other additional countries like Ukraine at the moment. And I would say I'm proud to be a part of this project because it's a peculiar project. It's a project that was born and started under a terrible crisis that was triggered by the pandemic, followed by this huge energetic crisis triggered by the war between Ukraine and Russia. So I would say that if we look at what has been achieved so far, we have done so much, and we have transformed what that were a lot of challenges into great opportunities. And also, I mean, the work that we have done is showing it, including this wonderful fact sheet that we have just prepared as branches. Having said that, I can tell you that I'm meeting a lot of stakeholders, bioeconomy stakeholders in Ukraine, and having met that, it happened to me to meet these people that is working for this wood use technological center, whose the director is Miss Lyudmila, to whom I'm passing the floor. She's a nice colleague, and we have discussed a lot on these issues. And she was very proud to prepare this short presentation to you, just to let you know the situation of bioenergy in Ukraine. So if I'm allowed, I will pass the floor to Miss Lyudmila. Lyudmila, it's yours.
Dear Alberto, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation and for this opportunity to be the part of your wonderful workshop today. It's really a big pleasure for me And just a moment, I will try to share my presentation that I have prepared. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Thanks God, yes.
Yes.
Dear colleagues, hello again. As Alberto introduced me, my name is Lyudmila, and I'm representing Forestry and Woodworking Development Institute from Ukraine. We started our activities in Ukraine more than 20 years ago. Our team was issuing the leading B2B newspaper for the forestry and woodworking industry. And after almost 20 successful years of media publishing, we decided to direct our activities in creating the Association Forestry and Woodworking Development Institute. And we see our main mission in creating a favorable environment for forestry and wood production in Ukraine. We also strongly believe that wood is the best ecological and renewable constructional material given to us by God, and we are ready to promote the wider use of wood and wooden products. And my next slides are dedicated to a very brief overview of the bioenergy in Ukraine, because as you know, Ukraine is a very rich country for agricultural lands. Almost 30% of our lands are very fertile agricultural lands, and 17% of our lands are covered by forests. So Ukraine exports agricultural commodities and wood pellets globally, and it is an important provider on rapeseed and sunflower feedstock for European biodiesel production. Also, Ukraine has expressed its intention to follow basic principles of the European Green Deal, and effective reduction of GHG emission and successful implementation of the green energy transition is possible only on conditions that the bioenergy sector is developing intensively. And here I have a beautiful table showing you the average annual growth rate of bioenergy in Ukraine during the last 10 years, and it was at the level of about 11%. Unfortunately, the pace of development of bioenergy in Ukraine is much lower than European indicators. And here I have another table showing the overall share of energy from renewable sources in the European Union. It is at about 22%, while in Ukraine, the overall share of energy from renewable sources was lower than 11%. Also, as it was already mentioned, the war that was started last year by Russians against Ukraine triggered a big energy crisis, not only in the European Union, but in Ukraine as well, because it showed also huge dependence, dependence on imported energy sources. Here I have some statistics from the Ministry of Energy. From the year 2021, just before the war, and the country imported 85% of motor fuels for the transport sector, 30% of natural gas, and 50% of coal used for the production of heat and electricity. Also, the disruption of supply chains during the war has deepened the energy crisis and ongoing dependence on imports in Ukraine, leading to the introduction of limits for motor fuel sales. After the war, the demand for fuels will grow even more due to the increased mobility, economic recovery, and the larger building needs throughout the country. So we as a country understood that strengthening energy security is our aim through the development of renewable energy, notably biofuels and biomass. We understand very well that we need to get energy independence. We need to reduce our dependence on imported energy sources, to increase our internal processing of agricultural commodities, improve waste management in the agricultural sector. And for this reason, very huge potential, bioenergy potential. According to the Bioenergy Association of Ukraine, as of 2018, the energy potential from biomass is 23 million tons of oil equivalent. The main components of this potential are plant residues and energy crops. Plant residues include straw or grain crops and rapeseed, corn stalks, sunflower husk, etc. Energy crops include willow, poplar, and corn for biogas production. So energy potential of biomass in Ukraine is enough to replace all gas, coal, and gasoline imports. Also, wood biomass in Ukraine is currently seen as an important resource for securing development of national renewable energy sector, avoiding dependence on the imported fossil fuels, and for building a low-carbon economy. Particularly in the densely forested Ukrainian Carpathians, wood is the most prominent bioenergy source used to meet the heat demands of household and public buildings. Last year, our government has created an online platform, and all residents of all regions can buy firewood in the state online store Drova. Another thing that I was mentioned is biomethane production in Ukraine, because biomethane is absolutely ready for injection into the gas network today, because we have a very well-developed gas network in our country. Ukraine can offer the cheapest raw material for biomethane production. Also today, it is the cheapest renewable gas. And the European Union adopted an ambitious plan for the production of biomethane at the level of 35 billion of cubic meters per year by 2030. And Ukraine can potentially provide up to 30% of this quantity. So, summarizing, the main reasons for us to develop bioenergy in Ukraine are the following. It is energy independence and stability. Also, it is local economic development and new jobs. One more point, it is additional incomes for farmers and counteracting climate change and fulfilling Ukraine's international obligations to reduce CO2 emissions. As a conclusion, I would stress once again that Ukraine has a significant potential for biomass for energy. Bioenergy sector is able to ensure complete independence from natural gas and to reduce dependence on the other types of fuel. Also, the industry has huge potential for investment. It is necessary to overcome a number of legal barriers to accelerate the development of bioenergy in Ukraine and to attract investors and help existing businesses to grow. Thank you very much for your attention. It was a pleasure for me to be today with you. And here are my contacts in case needed some more information from me.
Thank you very much, Lyudmila. Thank you so much. It was a great presentation. And I don't know if the floor has question for you. In case I have few comments, just I would like to leave the floor, the question to the floor.
No question, it seems.
It's no question.
I don't see any hands up, so not from this end. So please continue, Alberto.
Okay. These are comments that are rising from a member of branches and from a forester and from a person that is working in a country where forestry is important, is still quite important. However, the first point that comes to my mind is that in such energy crisis, the war has just demonstrated that Ukraine is not independent from the production of energy. They are mainly dependent on gas and oil. So again, the use of, let's say, bioenergy, it's fundamental. They are talking that they have a potentiality of production of 30% of the total energy that can be raised on biomethane. So imagine that we are always thinking of Ukraine as a nuclear country, nuclear in terms of production of energy. And we are just realizing that they are dependent from other sources of energy, of which they have huge potentialities to work on the production of biomethane. Another point that comes to my mind, I mean, we always think of Ukraine as a land flat country. They have forest, and they are using biomass, wood biomass, for production of bioenergy. And on top of that, they are using fast-growing tree species for production of bioenergy. They're using poplar. I was really surprised. They're using poplars and willows, which are fast-growing species. Everything that I'm saying shows that they are unbelievably dependent on new, or let's say rather than dependent, they need to develop new sources of energy. And in this, bioenergy could be a strong component. And because of this, they have just decided to at least to start understanding and to start looking at what European is doing. And again, in this regard, our project has been successful because we have managed to reach other countries that are outside of our radar screen at the moment. So very unfortunately, again, the project is about to close, but I really hope, and in this, I'm very optimistic, that what we have produced, it will be shared, continuing in the next future. So that's where my additional comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alberto. Now it's again on the agenda, my turn. So you have heard a lot of me already, but now I'm speaking in the role as the work package leader. So I will make the final conclusions, and don't worry, I will make them short. But on behalf of the project, I only can add to what Alberto has already said. And this project is about knowledge transfer for circular bioeconomy and sustainable management of rural areas. That text I actually just read from the banner that is next to and behind me, and also on the flyers that Branches project has. And I'm really glad that this knowledge transfer is not only within the project, but going beyond that. And I'm really glad that this knowledge can be used in outside our network, and that we expand our networks to Ukraine and other countries. So I'm really happy for that. And I think we have been successful in that. And I hope this transfer of knowledge will continue also after the project. What we have heard today were lots of technical solutions, different kind of best practices from all over the project partners and from Italy. And I think the technologies and the solutions, they are there. At least, of course, they can always be improved and be better. But we have a lot of solutions there, and we need to grab them and make the best out of what we can, so that we create additional value. It's all about increasing the value from material that was considered waste at the beginning into a high value product in form of energy or other end products that have a high value. So this value creation, and that will add to the bioeconomy in general. And with that, I would like to thank everybody involved in this day today, and all the presenters and everybody online on the line for listening and for participating to this great event. So from my end, I would like to say big thanks. I will not name everyone, but I thank in this regard all on behalf of the project, and thank you all for listening and your participation.
Thank you very much, Robert. So I'm closing the showcase day. I think that against all odds, we finally made it. So first of all, I want to thank Marcello and FIUSIS for hosting this event. And I want to thank you all for attending and sharing your knowledge. I hope we all learned something. I believe we did. I certainly did. Branches has much to offer. This showcase day shows one of our 50 best practice abstracts that we have selected. So I'm concluding just saying, please visit our website. Branches has lots of knowledge. You've seen a sample of one of the cases we can show you, but there are many more. Come to the website, download the practice abstracts, the fact sheets, the videos. There's lots of material for you, and also send us your feedback. And thank you all. Have a good day and good lunch to all the ones that haven't had lunch yet. Bye.